New this afternoon, Democrats in Congress are giving President Trump a warning. The chairman of the House Oversight Committee issuing a statement saying in part, the president should make no statement or take any action to obstruct Congress's independent oversight and investigative efforts, including by seeking to discourage any witness from testifying in response to a duly authorized request from Congress. This is after these comments from the president just last night.
They tried to get his sentence reduced. So it's pretty sad. It's weak, and it's very sad to watch a thing like that. I couldn't care less.
But should the president be concerned? Joining me now is former U.S. Attorney and MSNBC contributor Barbara McQuade and MSNBC legal analyst Katie Phang. Barbara, let's start with you. This new warning to the president from the House Oversight Committee. Did the president actually do more harm with yesterday's comments?
I think when you've got someone in the position of power of the President of the United States who makes forceful statements criticizing those who would come forward with information, that can be seen as witness intimidation. I don't know that it goes so far as the crime of obstruction of justice when he makes those statements because it's so open and notorious. But imagine if you are the person on the receiving end of those kinds of statements, you can't help but feel a little bit cowed by those statements. And instead, what most presidents say, what most leaders say is, I welcome the investigation, I encourage a quest for the truth, and people should share information fully because I am not afraid of the truth and I will be completely exonerated. That's not what this president does, which I think is what causes people to become even more suspicious. And so I think that the Democrats are within their rights to suggest to him that he ought to stand down so that they can continue their work to find the truth.
I think that's a powerful point you make about being unafraid of the truth. And Katie, I want to turn to that report of a counterintelligence investigation into whether President Trump is secretly working on behalf of Russia. Now, Senator Graham says he's going to ask FBI Director Christopher Wray about the counterintelligence investigation. But my question to you is, will the FBI have to answer to Congress on this issue?
Well, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that we as the American public are not privy to. And there's a reason why, Morgan. You have to protect the secrecy, the confidentiality of certain investigations to allow that investigation to unfold and to proceed effectively and really so that justice can be achieved. I think what's exceptional about this New York Times article that came out is not so much so the fact that now possibly Trump is being viewed as a Russian asset, but it unveils more of the tapestry of the Mueller investigation, Morgan, because we know that Robert Mueller took over the counterintelligence component of that FBI investigation when he was appointed special counsel. And so I think it lends itself some more vision into why Robert Mueller is doing what he's doing. There's a lot of questions, there's a lot of criticism about the amount of time it's taking for the Mueller report to be issued and for him to complete his investigations. But now we know that Robert Mueller is not just looking into whether or not the firing of James Comey was obstruction of justice, but he could possibly still be investigating whether or not President Donald Trump was, and currently acting as a Russian asset.
Katie, you mentioned the tapestry of that investigation, but Barbara, what about the procedure? As a former U.S. attorney, walk us through how the president became a target of an FBI investigation. What did law enforcement see that essentially got him to this place?
Well, to open an investigation on anybody in terms of a counterintelligence investigation, there's sort of three kinds and three categories. A preliminary assessment, I doubt that's what they were looking at here, which is sort of a threat assessment to see what's happening. It seems that in this category, we either would have had a preliminary investigation or a full investigation, which requires something known as predication. That means facts or circumstances that would cause someone to believe that these allegations are true and that there is something that needs to be investigated here. But when it's the President of the United States, I have to think that they would have gone to the highest levels of the FBI and the Department of Justice before opening such an investigation, because there has never in the history of the country been such a target of such sensitivity and such magnitude. It may be the things that are known publicly, like the firing of James Comey and the comments about the relieving of great pressure and the statements to Lester Holt, but I have to believe that there are additional facts known to the FBI that are not publicly known before they would take that extraordinary step of opening an investigation. And there could be many things that they've learned from the intelligence community, from our foreign allies, or from signals intelligence that would confirm all of that which is in the public domain.
Barbara, you mentioned this concept of predication. Katie, going back to what you said earlier, if there is in fact a counterintelligence investigation that's a part of Special Counsel Mueller's probe, how does that effectively change things?
Well, it ends up being a part of the ultimate outcome or the conclusions that are made by special counsel, which kind of leads us down the road towards something like Bill Barr, who we know is the nominee by Donald Trump for Attorney General. His confirmation hearings begin tomorrow, Morgan, and we're all watching it with captivation. And the reason why is we want to know what exactly Bill Barr is going to do, if he can maybe preview for us what he would do about Robert Mueller's report. Because Robert Mueller's report, if it is a part of the counterintelligence investigation, and if it's still ongoing or if it's been concluded, that report may end up being exactly what the American public needs to know about what exactly what Barbara talks about, those underlying facts and circumstances that gave rise to this investigation into the sitting president of the United States, which is an incredible precedent that we're looking at today, which nobody could have predicted was going to happen, at least in any of our lifetimes.
And essentially and hopefully chipping away at some of that secrecy. All right, Barbara McQuade and Katie Phang, thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Coming up next, troubled times for President Trump, the shutdown, the Russia investigation, and allegations